No! No! No!
Extravaganza.
What up, Ghost? It's another episode of the horror pop extravaganza, and we are here to welcome you to the macabre and the mindful. I'm Pop's Ghostly, people. With me today is
Jer Kirkenswallow. Jer Jer Kirkenswallow.
Jer Kirkenswallow.
Jerkinswallow. Jer Kirkenswallow.
You always bring the goods. I'll give you that. You always bring the goods. It's always exciting. So jerk and swallow. What was it? Kirk and swallow?
Jer Kirkenswallow. Jer Kirkenswallow. Jer Kirkenswallow.
I got you. All right, Jer. We're leaving it to Jer. We did a little sci-fi last week.
A little bit.
I didn't even line these up this way, knowing that they were going to be back-to-back science fiction horror. I don't think I believed VHS Beyond was going to be straight sci-fi like it was. It's some of the things, because I probably wouldn't have put two sci-fis one right after the other. But this one is a classic. It made people afraid, very afraid.
Yeah. Right there in the tagline, baby.
Dude, it might be the most recognizable body horror flick ever made.
For sure.
Most people know this. They've seen it. They've talked about it. It's an old story that goes back. We mentioned before, there's a cool Vincent Price version of The Fly out there that I have a lot of fun with. The little guy at the end when he's like, he's stuck in the spider web and shit. That's fun. But this, I don't even know what to
I think this came out at a time when body horror wasn't a thing yet. And so people saw it because it was a big summer movie. It was Jeff Goldblum, Geena Davis. They weren't ready for what they were about to go through.
Well, and Cronenberg had already done a bunch of cool body horror stuff. So this man is arguably the godfather of body horror, of real intense, crazy body horror. And he's got some gnarly ones out there, The Brood and Rabid. I mean, there's just all kinds of crazy shit. And he pushes it, and he pushes it far, and I like it. You know, I'm kind of here for it. But this one, like you said, it's a remake of an established property. So it's already, there's name recognition, you know. So this was 86. So the Vincent Price was probably 50s. So, you know, you're only talking a 30-year gap. People are still alive who remember the Vincent Price version of this.
Vincent Price was still alive.
Oh, yeah, that's fair. That's fair. He would still be alive for years, all the way up until Edward. Well, I guess a few more years up until Edward Scissorhands. But everybody shows up to go out to this thing, and you can't be mad at it, though, because it's got a good heart. I think there are going to be some people who were grossed out by it and just like, ew, it's disgusting, stuff like that. I was even giving you shit earlier. I think I was talking to my wife. I was like, man, he's fucking always grossed out by everything. Anytime. Fuck Greasy Strangler, too gross. Dead Alive, too gross. Now we're watching The Fly. But this is a different kind of gross, and it has a humanity, and it's really well acted. It's got a lot of cool shit going on. I fucking love this movie. I'll just put it right out there at the beginning. I've watched it many times over the years. I don't even recall when I first saw it. I think as a kid, I saw clips of it here and there, like people maybe watching it and like, what the fuck? You know, peeking around the door at night, like, what is this nightmare that's going on? But why don't you, Kirk and Jerk, Kirk and Swallow, why don't you take us through IMDb? Who made this thing? Because that's very important. Who's in it? Also, the creature effects. I think this was shit. I don't remember it, and I don't know if it'll be right there. Chris something maybe. Chris Ball. I don't know. But why don't you lay it all out there? What does IMDb think it's about? Who's in it? Who made it? and why are we here talking about it?
Here we go. The Fly, 1986, rated R, 1 hour and 36 minutes long. Directed by, like we talked about, David Cronenberg. He also had a hand in writing it, along with George Langland and Charles Edward Pogue.
Okay.
Our stars, Jeff Goldblum. And right here on IMDb, Jeff Goldblum's got like a fucking Hawaiian shirt with like every color on it and like a big gold chain, and he's like got his big glasses on, and he's like, and you're just like, this is the guy that was in The Fly.
It was. And he was recently just dropped another album and he does this lounge music type stuff and I'm all here for it. I'm 100% here for it. Either way, he's just I'm like, give me all the Goldblum, man. I don't know.
Have you
He's
seen that Disney thing he does? The World According to Jeff Goldblum? So
and
great.
he turns that quirky up to fucking 11 and I love it. And he's just like, wow. Just being Goldbloomy. But yes, very young Jeff Goldblum and Geena Davis in this. It's interesting.
Sexy Jeff Goldblum.
Always been sexy Jeff
He's
Goldblum.
bringing the six pack like nobody's been.
Still sexy Jeff Goldblum. During the acrobat scene, the gymnastics, I was like, I bet you that's really Jeff Goldblum doing fucking bar routines all over an industrial complex apartment.
With a cigarette in his mouth, and he's like, still holding.
Right. Still holding. Okay.
A beautiful Geena Davis.
Always beautiful.
An 80s treasure,
Yes.
I would say.
A humanities treasure, Geena Davis.
You know, you really have something there. I would say if Tom Hanks and her had a baby, it would be little baby Rogers.
Maybe, dude. But yes, Geena Davis, both very popular at the time, him and her doing cool shit. And then, I mean, outside of them, you've got one other player, and I think that's it.
We got John Getz, who's like, was in the bad guy in like every 80s movie.
Right. And he's our only other actor, though, for the most part. I feel like it's just the three of them in this movie.
Really.
Yeah, the doctor shows up for a little bit, but
David Cronenberg plays the gynecologist.
that was David Cronenberg?
Yeah.
Well, I didn't know that. Right on.
Yeah. You want to hear what IMDb has to say about this motherfucker?
Yes, absolutely.
God damn, I almost need readers, dude. I'm getting old.
Right.
A brilliant eccentric scientist begins to transform into a giant man-fly hybrid after one of his experiments goes horribly wrong.
Ooh, science, mad science,
Science.
weird science.
Science. Oh, shit. We just become best friends.
Pretty sure it's already happened. So that's a pretty good explanation because this one throws you straight the fuck into it.
Yeah.
You're there immediately. We need almost no exposition. We're at a big science fair. There's sciencey people doing science shit. And we have Geena Davis walking around. I'm a reporter. I'm a fucking Lois Lane journalist. She's on the case for the next hot thing, and she's gonna be the big scoop. You know, she's gonna figure this thing out.
He gets it.
Right. And Jeff Goldblum is being perfectly Jeff Goldblum, and I promise you, he's doing his whole thing. She goes with him pretty easily, which rewatching this, I was like, a little sketchy.
Yeah. I mean, we got to realize things were a little more promiscuous in the 80s.
As we see with the girl at the bar later on. But it's not only sketchy. I mean, he is a scientist guy and he doesn't seem super threatening. He seems very vulnerable and nerdy at this point in our story. Still
But Jeff Goldblum sexy.
Yeah. Still a little bit sexy, but non-threatening. I feel like she went with him because he's like, oh, I live in this abandoned building, fucking taking huge locks off the elevator.
That's a little sketchy, dude. I actually just rewatched Jurassic Park with my kid. He'd never seen it before. And Jeff Goldblum is super sketchy through that whole thing too. Like he's on Dr. Grant's woman from second one. Yeah.
So gross, dude. Yeah.
Dr. Grant's right there in the car and he's doing the chaos theory. He's like, so this, my semen would drip naturally right off of your lips.
I'm sure that's exactly what he said.
He was referring.
So they get to his apartment and he's like, I've got the best thing that ever happened. Give me something to shoot through the fucking teleporter. And these look like honeycombs. Like you almost expect Winnie fuck Pooh Bear to come out. Like, oh, why bother? Comes out with Piglet hanging off of him. Why bother?
That's how the fucking Blood and Honey started.
As they tried to teleport.
They tried to teleport Disney characters.
He's got these gray teleporters, which I think he tells her at. Oh no, I lost Jason. Let's give it a. Oh, there you are.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me let it run for a second just so I know to cut it out real quick. Sorry for that brief interruption there, people, but he has these two that he says essentially stole the ideas. Not stole the ideas, but there were people smarter than him that he collected all the information, built it into this teleporter. And she's like, oh, this could revolutionize everything. He's like, give me something to try. And she, real sexy, takes off her stocking. I'm like, of all the things you could give him, like, she's like, I want to give you more. Just teleporting. um, So he shoots her sock across the room. Fucking, you know, and his little computer's cool. He puts it, you know, the information in there, and very late 70s, 80s computer technology. Beep, 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 beep. And she sees it like, holy shit, this is the biggest thing ever. She has a tape recorder on and goes to flip the tape over. And he's like, no, you can't fucking do that. Nobody can know about this. Super secret. You know what I mean? Squirrel shit.
The teleporter.
Right. And he thought it was a personal thing that she actually liked him and she was there under the pretense of, even though the way she takes the thing off all sexy, you assume something's going on there, or at least wanting to go on there. He tells her, don't blah blah blah. She says okay, and then they connect back up. He tells, or she tells him, how about this? He's like, it's not ready, the story's not ready. How about you hang out with me the whole time? There'll be nothing but hanging out with me. You can just observe me. I don't do jack shit anyway. Watch the whole process, and then when it, and maybe she pitches the idea of a book or he pitches her on the book. Yeah, it could be a book. You're thinking too small, you know, and he's getting her there to stay there now. Okay, so what about shit that's alive? I don't know. Let's try it on a monkey.
Bad idea.
Let's try it on a monkey.
Always on a monkey. Poor fucking monkeys.
Shit just explodes. And the one we see in the little pod, like, this is fucking just a mess of a thing.
It reminds me of Galaxy Quest, dude, when he's like, he turned inside out and he exploded.
A little bit. It's super gross. He doesn't get the idea of they have something about the flesh. They start mentioning the flesh and he gets some idea, clicks in his brain. Oh, I think I got it figured out. Okay, now we're going to work out the math. We're going to figure this thing out. They're getting romantically involved at this point. I think they've already done it once. And he's like, oh, girl. Awesome. And the monkey goes through. Monkey's totally cool, like comes out the other side, like holy shit. And then he sends a steak through. I think the steak was first. And he's like, okay, take this, take this. I was looking at it wrong. The way it's, you know, essentially reassembling things or something.
Dead flesh, wasn't it? Dead flesh couldn't go through it, and so it had to be living.
Something like that. Yeah, there's some, but he put the live monkey in there before, I thought, and it exploded. But yes, there is a reason. I mean, this is all very fantastical science, you know, but there is a reason. They do give an explanation.
80 science.
80 science was the best.
You can make a girl if you have a Barbie doll hooked up to some electrodes.
Right.
And a good computer.
And that's what we do is we make girls. So fuck bots. That's where we're at now.
We're still just trying to make girls.
They are having a great time. Meanwhile, her editor-in-chief, former love interest, he's a super gross, like you said, he plays a great 80s slime bag. He's disgusting. Nobody wants to be around him.
Grosser than the fly.
You're right. She's like, how did you get in here? He's just in her house taking a shower. And he's like, oh, I still had a key. She's like, get the fuck out. He's like, how about just friends with benefits? Just some sex with nothing else. And she's like, you are disgusting. So we know this dude's a turd. And I apologize, still getting a little over this sick thing. She takes off in the night. She's like, I have to go deal with something, get rid of my former life so that me and you can officially be, you know, whatever together. She's got to go put an axe to this old boss and this old flame. He starts to get drunk. He's like, fuck, bitch. Look, you hanging out with the monkey. I'd hang out with the monkey. I wouldn't even need a Geena Davis if I had a monkey. We're going on adventures,
I
man.
can't even imagine you, dude, and a monkey just teleporting shit back and forth just to see what'll work.
Right. I believe that show is called Rick and Morty. So he decides, well, fuck it. I'm kind of drunk. I'm getting in the fucking tank and I'm teleporting. We got to do it at some point. So he gets in. Meanwhile, the monkey's been looking at this fly. We know there's a fucking fly in this room. It's loud. Bzz. And the baboon. And so Goldblum gets in. Seth Brundle goes in. This is the last we see of Seth Brundle. Comes back out. Shit does a thing. Transportation complete. Goes to sleep. She comes back and goes to get in bed with him. He's like, "Oh, is it morning?" She's like, "No, it's still nighttime. I'm fucking back. Whatever. Blah blah blah." Oh, okay, come on, get in. Let's fucking cuddle. Wakes up in the morning and starts feeling awesome really
Yeah.
quickly. We start to see these transformations. He's even just like looking at the bar. Or before he wakes up, though, he grabs a fly out of the air. There's one flying around his room, and he's just like, whoosh, and then he looks at it like, what the fuck? How did I just. But then he starts doing gymnastics, like fucking Simone Biles all over the fucking apartment, dude. He's just crushing it. Boom, boom. Look at this. I'm amazing. And she's like, wow, that's neat, but I don't know. Something don't seem absolutely right. We start to get the indication that he is off in some way. Looks like dude from Men in Black, like sugar. Give me sugar. She's like, you want some coffee with your sugar?
Because I don't know, egger suit.
Love it. She starts to notice this shit. Like he's consuming all these calories, his brain and his speech starts to improve. Fucking hats off to Goldblum for this transformation performance. Cause that twitchy shit he does, I don't know if anyone could ever do it again like that. And he would just hit it and then come back though and be the science guy and then the little eye, yeah. But this transformation, we're still kind of early on. He's wanting to fuck for hours on end. She's like, "How can you have any fluid left in your body?" He's like, "Come on, let's keep going. I want to do it more." And she's like, "Whoa!" And while they're doing it, she reaches around his back and embracing him and she feels these. This is Cronenberg does body horror on every level, from the super grotesque to the micro body stuff that gets just under your skin. That prickle.
That's the thing. This hair thing stuck with me like for my whole life. Like just the little like hard hairs coming out of his back.
Horse. Very.
Yeah.
She's like, "Ew, these are weird." She's like, "What is this?" He's like, "I'm an old man. We get hairs in weird places." I don't know. I feel great though. It's so she clips them off. They're super rough. Keeps them in a little baggie, and we, find out later she does something with them. But for a few more days, maybe a day or two, they are still pretty close together. But she ends up taking, I don't remember when she ends up taking off, and he goes out to the bar. She's getting weary of all of his antics.
Yeah.
He's
Because he's
going,
getting weird.
yeah, he's getting very weird. This is all going too far. Maybe I just need some space. I don't know why she took off, but she takes off and he goes to the bar and he's just the fucking biggest swinging dick in the room. Just chest peacocked out. Fucking, let's go. And he sees this girl at the bar and he's like, hey, you want to fucking do it? And she's like, what? Sexy, but kind of greasy and looking a little methy, I think is the word I'm looking for. Goes to her, let's take off. Boyfriend's like, oh man, we'll fuck kick your ass. He's like, I bet $100 I could arm wrestle either of you. And just like over the top, turns the hat around. And he doesn't just arm wrestle. He arm wrestles while staring my dude in the eyes and then snaps his arm, busts the bone straight out of the thing. No good.
I think that was the first time I saw a compound fracture in a movie.
Really? When
Yeah.
did you see this the first time?
I was like 12 and my dad was showing it to me and he was not supposed to be showing this to me because I remember this being like the first gross movie I ever watched and like the first sex movie I ever watched.
Yeah, it does have the sex isn't too graphic though. It's
No, it's not, but they do some really crafty camera angles to get rid of Jeff Goldblum's cock as he comes out of the
Oh, out of the, it's very Terminator coming into the
yeah, a lot of like
or into
steam
the past.
stuff.
Yeah. And bent on one leg where you can like probably tape your wiener to the inside of your thigh. I'm sure there's some kind of mechanism that they, hey, put this on and it'll make sure your balls don't fall out and go flopping down into the front.
Oh, you know that Goldblum is hung like a donkey, dude. He
Yeah.
has to be that goofy of a fuck, but like everybody's like weirdly horny for him.
It
Just
literally
sense it,
has to
dude.
be taped down to his ankle. It has a bend, a 90-degree bend, and then
I
tucked.
think that it also has the head of Jeff Goldblum on it. And when he gets hard, it's like, oh, hello there. Let me explain chaos theory.
That's amazing. I wish somebody would animate that. That would be really just him standing there and his wiener comes out and it's another little Goldblum like, hey.
He's like sleeping. He opens one eye, dude, and it's right here by his head. And he's like, clever girl.
Right. Good night, Jeffrey. So he takes old girl home. She's eager to go with him. They do some humping for a while, and then he kicks her out. I want to say
He shows her the machine. He
he
sends
wants her to
himself
go in
through
it. He wants her to go through it, but she's
Yeah,
like,
yeah. And she's
no.
like, no way. Fuck
Because
that.
that's what he was trying to get Geena Davis to do at the same time. He's like, you gotta do it. It'll be fucking awesome. It's like the
Yeah.
best thing ever. It's the most pure drug. You get re-put together better than you've ever been.
Might get an extra tit on your back for dancing.
Or one in the front, total recall, all over again. Be great. So he tries to get the other girl to go through, the other woman to go through. She's like, nah, this is fucking crazy. And now I feel is left alone, and we start to get some of the bigger transformations where he's actually becoming, because Geena Davis keeps going over there to check on him and shit like that to make sure he's okay. And then soon he's almost melting, kind of
Yeah.
melting in a way. He's very wet looking.
Yeah. And stuff
Very,
starts falling off.
yeah, his teeth start to fall
Fingernails.
out. Fingernails at first, you're right. The fingernails. He starts the Brundle Fly Museum of shit that's fallen off his body in his bathroom,
Yeah. Yeah.
which is fucking crazy. But before that, I don't think she sees him walking on the ceiling quite. Yeah, this whole end, kind of middle to end, just becomes one giant display of awesome special effects.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like this movie is not very plot dense. It just
No, it's really not. It's simple.
very simple. It just kept throwing it at me, and I'm like, oh, okay, they're in love. Okay,
Yeah.
great. Okay, you know. And it just kept like bing, bing. But it was like, okay, now wait a second. We're gonna show you him throw up on some food and eat it back up.
Yeah. Yeah. Which I found out is how flies eat at that time too. So like I learned some science from this.
Yeah. And then you think about it when they're sitting on you like sick. Quit puking
Oh
on.
yeah, dude. Like my mom used to be like, I had to be like, "There's a bug on my sandwich," and she'd be like, "Shoo him away. It's fine." I'm like, "No, he's been puking on that shit now. I chuck a sandwich. I will throw a sandwich in the fucking gutter so fast, dude." And my mom's like, "Don't waste food," and I'll be like, "A fly puked all over that."
See, but I think our food is allowed to have a certain amount of parts of animal insect pieces and shit like that. So
Yeah, I don't care for that either.
I don't appreciate you telling me that, Pops.
Next time you keep your fucking science to yourself.
Right. So he does discover, the computer tells him that he's Brundlefly, which is half Seth, half Fly. The computer didn't know to separate them and put them back together as one thing. In the Vincent Price one, it's super cool. You get like a guy with a fly mask on, get around. It's very 50s cheese, but fun. In this, we watch a man, it's almost as gross as the substance.
Yeah, totally.
Very similar. We wouldn't have the substance without stuff like The Fly. Cronenberg really laid the foundation for a lot of this.
Yeah.
But he starts to climb on the ceiling, doing the twitchy thing. Hairs are coming out all over. She finds out she's pregnant, doesn't know what to do about that. We get a fucking crazy in the hospital. I mean, it's a dream sequence, but all the doctors gathered around her, the delivery team. Oh shit, you're gonna have a baby. Push, push. Okay. Fuck, excuse me. And then, oh, there's more. There's more. What do you mean there's more? Go ahead, push. Okay, you can do it, Mom. Here's your baby. It's a larva. Fucking disgusting, dude.
Was Bobcat Goldthwait her doctor?
Maybe. But she's like, get it away, get it away. And this thing is gross. It's covered in placenta fluid. It's a giant maggot.
Yeah.
Imagine a giant squiggly maggot in a doctor's hands. He's just like,
Blech.
yeah. She wakes up from a nightmare. This is bad. Goes back to see him at some point. He's a hot mess. Now he's grotesque. He's still a little bit Seth. He calls himself Brundlefly now because he's not. And the crazy shit is, though, and I think this is where the heart of the movie hits really well. He, at one point, says, I'm a fly who dreamed he was a man. And it's the fly part, you know what I mean? Dominating. And it's, oh, he's like, I don't like it. There, you know what's cool about insects? No politics. It's fucking, or I want to be the first insect politician. She's like, you're not even making fucking sense. He's like, it's just a brutal world of kill this, kill that. And it's the fly talking, not even necessarily him anymore. But that doesn't show up for a little while longer because she goes and talks to old boy about getting an abortion, her editor in chief or whoever. I got to get this fucking thing out. I'm freaked the fuck out. You don't understand how bad it is. And she took a videotape of him and then showed it to the editor guy. And he's like, this is how Brundlefly eats. And he's like, oh shit, this guy really did some fucked up things to himself. He then talks to his doctor buddy who's going to do an abortion in the middle of the night. But it was only after she goes to see Brundlefly for the last time. And he's like, do not ever come back here. Because she at one point tells him, I had my friend at a lab look at your hair and it's fucking not even human, it's insect. And he watches the little computer screen slowly come to life. And that was always 80s cool. She comes back, very sad. Fuck. And he's like, just leave. Don't come back. Okay, punches into the computer. The only way to fix this is to go through the process again with another fully human person. Computer spits that out. He's like, all right, I know another fully human person. And busts into the hospital room through the window where she's going to get an abortion. And the effects on this are, he looks fucking awesome
Yeah.
throughout this whole thing. He looks really freaking cool. Busts in, grabs her. Come on, let's go. Takes her back to the thing. His plan is to put her through with him and the baby inside him. He's like, it's the only part of me that's left. You got to have the baby. And she's like, no, I can't. He's like, oh, it's the only piece. No, no. And then other dude shows up. He's got a dope shotgun. I don't know where he got it from, but it says breakaway double barrel. Over under. Really fucking clean. And he's got this thing, him and Brundlefly getting a fight. Brundlefly spitting fucking acid all over him on his leg, and then just it's melting away. Pieces of him are just falling off, and he's throwing this shit up all over his face. He gets Geena Davis, throws her in the one pod. He gets in the other pod. They're gonna do the transference and become one super fly human. Super fly. But he's got the countdown going, and then something, maybe dude shoots one of the machines. I think he shoots it with the shotgun, breaks it. He starts coming out, but at this time, he's full fly, and he looks fucking cool. This stuff hanging off of his face, big eyes that like cracked away when he morphed into the fly. And he's just this gnarly, fucking crazy thing. Gets into the one tank, guy shoots the thing, he busts through the glass, he goes to get out, but he gets teleported when it's halfway, he's halfway out, halfway in. And then the computer pops up, amalgamation complete between teleportation tube and Brundlefly. And now this Brundlefly abomination comes falling out of the teleportation thing. It's got pieces of metal hanging all out of his back, and it's crawling towards her. Just gets over there, and she's like, "Fucking Seth." She's holding the gun at his face, and he pulls up this one Brundle teleporter fly hand and grabs the barrel and puts it right to his head. She's like, no. How could you say no?
Right? Yeah. Like, be a friend.
Love, right. Love runs deep, but there's no remnant left. Not even that fly wants to be alive anymore. The,
No.
the teleporter piece is like, how the fuck did I get pulled into this? Like, what happened? So she ends up putting one right in his dome and roll credits.
Yeah.
I like science fiction movies like this.
Yeah.
They're almost just, and it's weird because for a lot of times, science fiction is a very new thing in and of itself. Not necessarily because people have been thinking about space and the stars and that, but for the most part, the way we look at science fiction, but a lot of times it becomes science fact. And one day, we're putting chips in our brains and shit already. Give it
Yep.
another 100 years, give it another 200 years, see where we're going to be. If you could transport from one place to another, because that's the idea. Since Star Trek, fucking beam me down, beam me
Right.
up, put me where I
It'll
want
be
to go.
it'll be the new travel. Like, travel's becoming so expensive. Like, why not now? Teleport yourself, be on vacation in 5 minutes.
This one, though, it's compact. It's an hour and a half. I like that. It is well acted. It's well directed. It's well affected. It's
Mhm.
well scored. It's well edited. Even the shit with him on the ceiling, that's the tricky shit where it's just like, yeah, fucking build a ceiling upside down in that. But I like that. I like that practical effect stuff. And seeing him like that, I was like, fucking cool, dude. Walking around like, oh, that's amazing. So before I get to my score, do you have any final thoughts? And out of 5 regurgitated lunches, how many do you give David Cronenberg's The Fly?
I do have some thoughts. Science is scary. That's my first thought.
Yeah.
There's always a black, dark side to it. This is what I think would really happen to Spider-Man if he got bit by a radioactive got superpowers. He'd also look grotesque and he would get like spidery shit. And the webs would come out of his butt.
Can you imagine him flying through New York from his ass?
From your butt. Just like, whoa.
Just hanging from his booty, grabbing
Makes,
on.
makes a lot of sense though.
It does.
Yeah. And then I hope that this redeems me in your eyes a little bit because this movie is totally fucking disgusting, but it has a point and a purpose. There's a reason for it to be disgusting. So, like, this to me, this and the substance are far removed from the Greasy Strangler,
And
Dead
Dead
Alive,
Alive.
where it's just like gross to be gross.
And those aren't too far removed though from the Evil Dead.
And the Evil Dead is gross, but it also, like, I feel like there's a reason.
Right, a Kandarian fucking demon
I
dagger.
also, I mean, I saw
I'm with
Evil
you.
Dead
I am with you.
backwards because I saw Army of Darkness first, then
Mm.
I saw Evil Dead, then I saw Evil Dead 2.
So you already fell in love with Bruce
I was
before
in love with
they,
Bruce. I knew, yeah, you can't have Ash. And then, like, if I would have saw Evil Dead to begin with, where Ash isn't even like a thing,
he was kind of like a little more timid.
he
But
was
he
a
still
baby.
he gets there at the end. He gets there a little bit more at the end. But he's like, "Hey, baby, why don't you come over here and lay a smooch on me? Here's a little fucking necklace." You remember?
Again, dude, we would have been creepy for far too long, dude. We need to knock it off.
Right. I've been knocked it off for a long time, but all right. So out of your 5,
This one is a
irritated lunch.
classic. This is a classic movie. Great performances. And I'm gonna say 4. I'm gonna give this one a solid 4.
Ding ding ding
And
ding.
I've seen it repeatedly, and it's always good. Like every couple of years, you can revisit this thing
Yeah,
and just like, damn, dude, this is a cool movie.
it's right up there with Alien, man. It's just like good fucking sci-fi.
Now, did you see the follow up with
Yeah.
the kid from Mask?
Yes.
I heard that wasn't good, but I've never seen it.
No, it's when something does really well, it's American Psycho 2 with Mila Kunis. You got a
Right.
good name that fucking sells something, man, and that's a good thing. Maybe not. It's
Right.
a good thing that it happened, but it's a bad thing that they always end up pushing a sequel out that is rarely Rarely, outside of instances, Terminator, I think, is a really good example. First Terminator fucking rules. But Terminator 2, and maybe it was time and place. I was the right age, right time to see that shit and, associate with Edward Furlong's character and really bury myself in that position. But this, I'm going with you a solid four. Very solid four. Because for all the same reasons that you mentioned, it's just all there. It's good. It's creepy, but it's somehow a little more accessible than the Greasy Strangler. I was telling a girl about the Greasy Strangler at the T-Mobile store the other day. I don't know how we got no, I don't know how we got to talk about movies, but she said, "Oh yeah, I like fucking horror weird movies." I said, "Oh yeah, you want?" I said, "Go watch this movie." I said, "Don't look anything about it." I said, "Just watch it." I said, "It'll be one of the best moments of your life or one of the worst." And I do tell people that.
That lady.
I said, "You're either gonna love it or hate it." I said, "I've never met anyone who's in between on this movie. You either really enjoy it or you find absolutely zero value in its existence."
I love that your goal in life is to spread joy and bile. Kind of what our podcast is all about.
Kind of. Joy and bile, macabre and mindful. Come on down to the horror pop extravaganza. We got all of it, folks. But a four, solid 4 out of 5. Great movie. Glad it was on the list. We only have a couple more of our first list to go through, and I believe next week we are going to be looking at I Saw the TV Glow, which I am very excited about. I've been wanting to watch this for a while, had it recommended by a couple people, said check this thing out. Podcast gives me a good reason to do that. So that'll be coming next week. I believe it is still on Max. I hope it is because I like it when stuff's on stuff. I don't got yeah, and I don't got to rent it. The mindfulness portion of today came to me right before we sat down to record. I don't know why the song came to my head, but I was walking around my bedroom just, Que sera, sera. Whatever will be, will be. The future's not ours to see. Que sera, sera. And I'm like, that's some fucking real shit.
Yeah, man. Like
It
I feel like that's the song you sing to your victims in your basement.
is sharper than a knife. Que sera, sera. No, but the message behind that, she explains it over a couple times. When I was a little girl, I asked my mother, what would I be? And her mother answers her, que sera, sera. And that is, if you take life like that, if we take life like that, so much easier to navigate.
Yeah.
Whatever will be, will be. I can't tell the future. I don't know. And if I try to tell the future, then I'm just causing suffering in my head, new mental suffering. Whereas just whatever will be, will be. The more you can just accept it, like that is what it is. Now, I've mentioned this before. You're not doing this in the face of injustice. You're not watching somebody get beat to death and being like, oh, whatever will be, will be. But you're not complaining about the rainy day when you wanted to go on a picnic. It's just accepting that the weather is the weather and there's nothing we can do to control that. There's some old saying about farmers. They work like everything depends on them and then pray like nothing depends on them because they know they can plant all day long, work the fucking earth till their hands are bleeding. But if the rain and sun doesn't come, it doesn't matter. You can work as hard as you want, but it doesn't matter. But we have the choice in a lot of those situations to say, yeah, it is what it is. Beyond that is just complaining. Because I can't
Right.
think of any situation where, and it is what it is can be, I'm going to get myself out of this situation or make a decision in this situation, but for the most part, we can't control the world around us. We will never be able to, but we want to. We really
Yeah.
want to. We get excited about, like, I just want everything to be in a perfect little fucking row. And know that tomorrow when I wake up at this time, my alarm's going to go off. I'm going to eat breakfast. I'm going to do this. I'm going to follow my patterns. I'm going to follow my routines. And we like that rhythm. We like that control. And when things throw that off, we blame reality instead of just saying, oh, it is what it is. And sometimes it sucks. It does suck. It's like, oh, I lost my fucking job. But to deny the fact that you don't have a job is just going to make you more miserable. It's more like, yes, that happened, move the fuck on. Whatever will be, will be. That thing been right there. It's already beed. So you got to move on to the next thing. And that might be, hey, look for another, you know what I mean? I don't know, whatever the case may be.
Not for me. I lost my job. It was the greatest thing that ever happened to me.
You should have fuck quit your job 6 months before you before you stopped working for your company.
Hey, Sarah, Sarah.
Right. And all of us, regardless of the situation, and this is a hard pill to swallow sometimes, regardless of the situation, you are living the life. We are living the lives that we feel are acceptable, no matter what the situation.
Right.
You, me, everyone is living the life that they feel is acceptable. Even if it's a shit one, that you view as a shit show, or you view as a great life where you're making six figures, or maybe you have the illusion, you are making six figures, but you're fucking miserable behind the scenes and you want to kill your kids and, you cheat on your wife when you're on business trips and things like that. Who knows? I don't know. But I do know, que sera, sera. Yeah, it is all up to us, man. It's the choice to say I accept it as it is or I deny what it is.
I like to be someone who gives sage-like advice. And so I always say, no amount of worry ever solved a problem.
For
You
real.
can worry and keep yourself up at night, especially right now with everything that's going on with the government. People are like, just want to do something, but they
Yeah.
don't know what to do. And guess what? There's not much you can do because you're not in control of any of that shit. All that shit happened. I mean, there's some responsibility to be had somewhere.
That list is too long though, because that goes back generations. It's the capitalist industrial society that we live in is a product of, generations ago. We're 3, 4, 5 generations removed from some of that shit. But
Yeah.
you can keep pulling that thread and be like, there's no one person you can ever point the finger at and be like, it's your fucking fault we're in this mess, because everyone's fault we're in this mess. I found the one thing that I can control is how I respond to all of it. And if I respond with fucking kindness, if I respond with love, if I respond with compassion, with well-being, whatever it may be, then it
Hang on,
tends to
you
be a little
froze.
bit.
You froze. You're gonna have to start over that whole statement.
So our audio is being a little macabre today and froze up on us for a second, but gonna try and pick that up right where we left off. And if not, maybe I'll be able to splice it. You won't even hear it. I'll take this part out.
Hey, Sarah, Sarah.
Right, dude. Whatever will be, will be. We stopped. We were like, hey, let it run for a second so we can see the dead audio. We'll figure it out later. But where I was going with a lot of that is that the only thing we can, at least I find in my own life, can control is how we respond to it. And whether we're going to look at that political situation, because I find myself looking at the whole thing and a lot of times getting worked up, in the fear and the fucking blaming and all that shit. But I've gotten pretty good, I would say, about when I stop, about meditating, praying, whatever you want to call it, about peace for the whole situation.
Mhm.
Like, can both sides have some calm? Like, I don't want to say, oh, I hope this side, can everybody calm down a little bit? Can the fire be quelled some? And then when I go out and about throughout my day, I just be randomly nice to fucking every single person I meet as much as I can. I'm like, that's what I can do. I can do that all the time. There's nothing that says I can. Kindness doesn't need an explanation. I feel like we live in this society where love and kindness need an explanation. Why are you being nice to me? Why not? Shouldn't that be the default? Shouldn't being nice to each other be the fucking default programming? But we're not like that. We're not like that at all. And our country is even, I mean, we still are, even not being super nice to each other. A lot of other, when Josh came over, he's like, man, you guys all just fucking you'll tell our whole life story to a stranger. You just meet somewhere.
Yeah.
But what we can control, what I found anyway, is that we can control how we react to it and look at the situation and without blaming and trying to find and seeing the equality of suffering on all sides of things. You know what I mean? So, whatever will be, will be. I'm going to keep singing that. I like that song. It's a good one. Like I said, next week, we're going to be bringing you I Saw the TV Glow. Pa, 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 pa. So, for the Horror Pop Extravaganza, once again, I have been Pops Ghostly.
I've been Jared Kirkenswallow.
Do a random act of kindness. So fucking gross.
No! No! No!
Extravaganza.